On this episode of Metal and Mortgages, we discuss
Weird Al jamming with Weezer.
Kiss announces their second farewell tour, and Kirk Hammet talks about a solo album.
And Bill Cosby contends with some real pudding pops in prison. Episode 14, baby.
That's a dozen plus two.
Crack 'em if you got 'em.
Well, let's just go ahead and get this out. If you're looking for substance, quality show, well-produced, big budget.
Tune out. It's not here. Keep looking.
Nailed it. Where's your hammer? I'd like to go ahead and read an iTunes review, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah. We got one.
On who?
Well, we don't actually have any real ones, so I was going to read it from like somebody else's page. I mean, a podcast. Would that be okay? We can just pretend that it's ours.
This is a review of someone else's podcast?
Well, I mean, I don't think we have any, do we?
I would not know. I do not really look.
Because you don't even pay attention to our podcast.
I don't. We just got to put these things out there.
A review right here. So I'm going to go ahead and this is podcast listener.
Interesting. This is for our podcast.
Yeah. It's a 5-star, I think. Yeah. Says, I got to hit more. Says it took a couple episodes, but now I can't wait to hear their next upload. The audio sounds great. The videos on YouTube look professional, although dark for my taste. And their content is more often entertaining than not. I'm subscribed and look forward to listening to every show. And I'm not making that up. It's right here. So, for those of you who don't know, if you're on Apple, there's a podcast app. Boom. You click on it or tap on it. You'll find this particular logo right here that says Metal and Mortgages, and you subscribe. And if you don't, you're a bitch.
And to that reviewer, we'd like to say we'll try to bring in some flowers and stuff and kind of lighten it up a little bit for you. Sorry if we go to the dark zone, dark side.
I think they meant like the lighting is dark.
Oh,
I've heard
okay.
that. No, that if any darkness in here comes out of me, because I'm like die tomorrow, don't really care,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
But in that same breath,
gloom.
I really want to live.
Right.
So.
Well, you remember that Louder Than Life tour that we talked about a few episodes back?
Yes.
It had tons of bands in it. Limp Bizkit, Alice in Chains, I think Deftones, Nine Inch Nails, like the list goes on. Anyway, it was in Louisville, Kentucky, I believe, and it was supposed to be this coming up weekend, and it got canceled, not just for rain, but they had a festival apparently last weekend. And because of the rain, and those fans created a mud pit stomping around that's like ankle deep, and they canceled the whole festival. So they're returning hotel packages, tickets, and that sucks.
That thing probably pre-sold a lot of tickets. I mean, they're probably having to deal with, if I had to guess, 7 figures worth of refunds.
I just wonder where are all those bands going? Is there another festival they can all go to, or are they all splitting up now and doing these other shows and trying to hop on other tours?
Well, those particular bands, I'm sure it's either not hard for them to find another gig to go to, or they just can take the weekend off and not really care,
right?
Because they all have money. You know, the majority of them do anyway. So,
Weezer'd released a cover song and a video for it for Toto's Africa, and Weird Al is starring in it, and I guess he's the one. He's just
in the video.
He's the vocalist. Oh. He's sitting there with the guitar,
acting in the video. He's not on the song. He's just in the video.
But it's just a band video.
Yeah,
it's just Weezer playing the song, but instead of the Weezer front man, it's Weird Al.
Wow.
And
I like them, man.
He's got
I like Weezer. They've always been very, very, very clever with what they produce. So.
When I was watching this, not only was it an amazing cover to where if you just listen to it yourself, like with no visual and you didn't know who it was, you would think, oh, that's Toto. You know, I mean, it's that good. However, when Weird Al started moving around, because he's dressed up with a sweater with the glasses just like the Weezer frontman.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was Weird Al until at the end he starts moving all like a weirdo.
Yeah.
and it gave it away for me. I was like, is that no? And then at the end it says Weird Al. So
oh wow, yeah. That's pretty cool, man. I'd be absolutely honored, and I'm sure that they were too, to actually have him take a part of that.
It was a really good cover song, man. It was good.
I like that song. I forget who turned me on to is back in probably 05, 06, that Andy McKee.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
He did in a like a full on like a one man band version of that song, and this wow.
Yep.
Now when I hear that song, my mind goes to his version of it because it's so perfect.
Now he plays on acoustics, but he's
tapping it out.
But he slaps it. He doesn't use a pick or anything like this, and he's doing percussion on the acoustic by beating on it and stuff while he's doing
plays
it.
The
bass line. He does a lot of finger taps,
the vocal lines, and the rhythm of the guitar with two hands.
Yeah.
And the drums.
Yeah. Now he also has his own original stuff too. If
right.
you guys want to check that out, Andy McKee. There's a song called "Drifting" that was really good.
Yeah.
He played a lot of the college circuits, I believe.
To me, it's not as interesting. I mean, that song was. To me, I don't think he'll ever outdo it, but that's just me. I like that stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was good.
Talented man. You ever get into Kiss at all when you was a kid? You were probably a little
negative,
a little past the Kiss. See, I got reeled into it because of my brothers. I had freshly teenage brothers at that time. Whenever Kiss kind of blew up in the mid '70s, late '70s, and so my walls were layered with their posters, blacklight posters, and.
Now I was interested. When I saw the visuals and the makeup and the blood coming out of the mouth, the theatrics
were just well, they had to do something because the music was a little kind of plain.
But somehow I saw the visuals, and I didn't hear any music attached to it. I don't know how. Maybe a magazine. I'm not sure. And then when I realized that, I want to rock and roll.
Yeah.
When I realized that was Kiss, it didn't match up to me. I was like, what?
Really?
That's blood coming out of your mouth? That's the sound?
Wow.
It seems really gothic and dark, the visual.
Right.
And then the music sounds like pop or something. It didn't really do it for me. It didn't make sense.
Well, they did a farewell tour, I want to say like 17 years ago, something like that. And which, they announced they're going to do a farewell tour in 2019. And of course, people are like, you already did one of those. And then you came back and did like 9 more tours, Well, Paul Stanley addressed it, I guess in Rolling Stone or something like that. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, that was the farewell tour with the original members, because they had Ace that tour and they had Peter Criss, the drummer, that tour. So while they've not been on tour here the last couple of years, whatever, Gene will go out and just do a show for fun by himself. I mean, he'll probably bring a band in tow, but basically he ain't making any money off of it, and he just does it because that's what he loves doing. I'm sure he loves the ego aspect of it too, because he's Gene effing Simmons. It's good to be me. There's been comments, I guess, while Gene was out touring, doing his shows by himself. There's been comments about, Gene will just, I guess, shots made at Paul's voice, because the man is 66 years old. He questions his own mortality, more often than not. And so, yeah, if he basically came out and said, look, I know what Gene said. Me and Gene go back like close to freaking 50 years. The man can't say nothing that's going to, hurt my feelings, And then at the same breath, he was like, well, Gene's out here doing, free shows. They tried to sell concert tickets to him, but nobody would buy them.
Oh, damn.
Anyway, long story short, Paul said that he is 66 years old. And if you're wanting to hear Paul Stanley from Kiss Alive 2, then go buy the album and put it on, because he is 66 years old. He's not going to sound like that.
Yeah.
As though, and they, you know what? I kind of agree with them. When you buy a ticket to a Kiss show, I have no doubt that you're going to get one hell of a show. The vocals may be a little off, a little bit pitchy, dog. You know, so what? I mean, you're getting to see icons. I'm not a huge Kiss fan. I was when I was a kid, and then I heard, no offense, but I heard better musicians, you know, playing better music, you know, and that without all the theatrics and the crap. But still, getting to watch them one last time, you know, it's just it would be like getting to see Elvis.
Bucket list.
Yeah, one of those things, you know. So I wish them luck. I hope they make, you know, millions of dollars doing this, you know. Good form at their age. I mean, the man's 66. I hope to make it to 66. So.
Like the Rolling Stones and McCartney. I don't know how these people, they keep going. They just keep going.
Well, they kind of like Ozzy. They prop a stick up under them and then point them in the right direction.
They've been dead for years.
Yeah. Kirk Hammet.
Metallica.
Not God Hammett. Kirk Hammet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know,
lead guitarist.
There was an interview recently done with him, and he kind of hinted around about maybe a solo album.
That'd be interesting.
He said, I guess during Saint Anger, was that 2004, whenever James disappeared for like a year because he went to rehab, Kirk wrote a lot of stuff. And he's been right. I mean, you know, we all do it. We all write stuff, but that never comes out and gets out. Like I have tons of things that you've never even heard.
I gotta be honest. And if anybody in that band, from the history of the whole band, whoever's been in and out, you know, Mustaine and whoever, Cliff and all of them, Kurt has always seemed to me like the kind of guy that would be easy to have a beer with and be a down to earth.
He's so laid back. Yeah, he's very laid back. Yeah, I think the most difficult one would be Lars.
Yeah.
Anyway, he basically says that he's got tons of stuff that he could put out, you know, if you know, but it's not gonna be a metal record. I mean, you gotta think the guy plays that crap all the time, so
he gets it out of his system.
So I mean, not, you know, he's not. You know, that band, for as much clout as they have, as much success as they have had and will continue to have, for as much, you know, bank as they've brought in, I mean, you got to think, the money they've generated is probably close to $1 billion.
When I saw Some Kind of Monster, which was almost embarrassing to watch, but so interesting. It's like a car wreck, train wreck. You just couldn't look away. I couldn't stop watching it. But I was embarrassed for them because they had a psychiatrist in the studio with them talking about their feelings, and they were paying this guy like $40,000 a day or something. But a week, yeah. And but anyway, yeah. The level of wealth is just unimaginable. When you say in the movie, you know, they showed Lars at a art auction, and he's got this VIP booth. In between studio sessions, where him and his wife go and they're drinking like, you know, $100 champagne and they're selling, they're auctioning off their painting.
$2.2 million. Oh.
Yeah, and he's up there like crying about letting his art go
because he loved that particular art.
Oh my god!
So what if the revenue generated off of that one painting could feed a small country for a year?
Exactly. Yeah, and he's up there dropping a tear for it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but downloading is stealing. Well, anyway, you know, you got to think though. I mean, if you played that music nonstop for 30, 40 years, if you got a chance to put out your own album, would it be the same music? You'd probably try to drift a little. Right.
Oh yeah.
So
I'd be interested to hear that.
So I would too. You know, I have no clue. I mean, I just hope it wouldn't be like Wes Borland weird, you know.
Yeah.
Or Mike Patton weird. So
what do you think about the old Puddin' Pop getting put away for 3 to 10 years? 3 to 10. That's pretty much a death sentence when you're, how old is he, 81 or something? I think so.
I say we cut him open and count the rings and find out.
But, yeah, but this has been going on since like 2005, is when this female came out against Bill Cosby. And now a judge has sentenced him to 3 to 10 years in prison, and his lawyer was advocating for a house arrest, which, they were not successful with that. The judge went on to say, no matter who you are, a celebrity or a public figure, you are not above the law and justice. And so sentenced him to 3 to 10 years. And his publicist apparently came out and related it or equated it to kind of Jesus being done wrong or something like this. I don't know. But this is publicist, so this is what they...
Your Honor, I would... I move to allow Mr. Cosby to serve his time out in house arrest, in his multi-million-dollar mansion with his servants and his butlers and his...
Yeah,
because that would be real punishment.
No, he's going to real prison with real pudding.
He should get a pineapple jammed up his ass daily for the rest of his effing life.
Well, they don't like sex criminals in prison, so.
But that's Cosby though. They're not going to put him with. They're gonna build him his own prison, like cell, like all by itself, and it's
what's crazy to me is that, he's came out over, numerous comedians, coming down on them hard for cussing in their act and this and that, and that it's untasteful, and isn't always the person that is seemingly a wholesome persona publicly ends up having these skeletons in the closet, Yeah. Always seems to be the case. And what apparently was the nail in his coffin was that in deposition, he admitted that he had given quaaludes to women that he wanted to have sex with. And so that was really the clincher.
I don't know, man. Maybe I lack testosterone, but I haven't met that many women that I wanted to get intimate with.
Right.
I don't know where that comes from.
Or
I can't get in the mind of.
Or how would it be sexually arousing to, have sexual intercourse with someone that's passed out?
Yeah, knowing in the back of your mind that what you're doing is wrong, and
that's beyond me.
Wasn't his wife a doctor?
I don't know.
Camille. My wife, Camille.
Couldn't tell you.
No.
McGregor versus Khabib. I guess that's how you say it. I don't know if you follow Conor McGregor or the UFC at all, but he's pretty famous, kind of undefeated. Not really. He's been choked out a time or two, but Khabib is undefeated. Okay, so if you equate it to like college football, Khabib is like Alabama.
Every time you say that name, I just want
to. But Conor McGregor, he claims that he's going to put Khabib on a kebab.
You're allowed to touch my drums now.
All right.
Put the sticks. I was playing. Put the sticks down.
But they're doing. Conor McGregor came out and his last fight was that big where he got $55 million for fighting the undefeated boxing champion Floyd Mayweather, which he did fairly well, but he lost in a decision, and it was probably a good stoppage on the referee's point because he was real loose on his legs at the end of that one, and so he was going down, and but that wasn't his forte. This is his realm. This is where, he can throw kicks, he can grapple and all this. But his big thing is the jab. He thinks he's going to just knock this guy out and get his glass jaw. But Khabib's strong suit is stamina and taking it to the mat, is grappling. So the big thing here, and this is coming up, I think, October 6th, but the big thing here is that Conor's going to have to stay away from him because if he gets him on the ground, he's most likely going to lose. And the other guy's got to Khabib's got to close the distance, or he's not going to be able to get him on the ground, and he will get knocked out. Right now, they're doing press events for this to build the hype, of course. And this is what Conor McGregor is great at, is talking smack. He's a genius at it. If there's a business of talking smack, this guy, he owns it. And he's gone on to say, "How's Noah? How's Noah?" Which is apparently the guy's son that he abandoned or something like that. So he's cutting deep, man, and he's going into Russia, claiming you are defacing your country and you're afraid of Vladimir Putin, and he's not holding back. He's not holding back. So the hype train is on, and we'll see what happens. Can he take McGregor to the mat?
I think they should Rochambeau for it. Cartman used it in South Park against a kid in the yard at school, but we actually did that when we were like 10 years old. I kick you in the nuts, and then you kick me in the nuts, and whoever stays down, longest loses.
It doesn't sound like a fun game at all.
Well, the trick is you get to kick first, and then when you do it and they drop to the ground, you say, "You win." You notice I haven't sang yet this episode.
It's true. We're waiting, though.
And you brought up quite a few things, and I'm like holding back. I'm like,
If you want to destroy my sweater.
Oh, the Africa. Trust me. I'm over here like war inside. I'm like Conor McGregor on Khabib in my head right now. All right. And when I was a teenager, I was about 15 years old. We all know I've talked about when I was young, I had a horrible speech problem. Now it's still there, you can tell, but it's not as obvious. Well, when I was 15, I was diagnosed, 15 and 16. We lived in 3 different states, and each state I got to go to a different neurologist. And without telling each neurologist about the other neurologist, I was tested. And I tested positive for Tourette syndrome. Now, most people know Tourette syndrome is as the Deuce Bigelow when he takes that girl out who yells out stuff, blurts out, things I can't blurt out on this microphone because you'll be mad at me for the editing process. And that's hilarious. Ha ha. It really does exist. I don't laugh at it per se, but I get it. Some people blink, some people have a head shake that they can't help, some people just clench their fists, whatever. It's just involuntary things that you do. I figured mine, because all these years I'm like, I don't have Tourette syndrome. I don't walk around going, moo, chicken biscuit, chicken biscuit, chicken biscuit. What was that? So I figured out my Tourette. Because all these years, I'm like, since 15 years old, so now for 32 years, I'm over here going, I don't see the Tourette's. I don't see it. I've been diagnosed with it from 3 different neurologists who did not know each other, who were in different states. So there ain't no way that they talk, let's just agree this guy has Tourette's. And I'm sitting there, they're just trying to find some reason to explain my speech impediment. Well, I figured it out. Anytime there's a trigger, like when you were talking earlier about freaking, like with Weezer'd, I'm over going, if you want to destroy my sweater, oh. I'm doing that in my head.
I love that song.
But today I stopped it. So I think that's my tick. Is I do it to the wife. I do it when I'm at the grocery store, whatever. I can't help it. If something if a catchy tune that I know is somebody says the name of the song, like Africa. You just said they could be talking about they're gonna take a trip to Africa. I'm over going, I bless the rains down in Africa. So I think that's my tick. Is I can't help but to sing. Based on the trigger, I can't help this.
Well, that's not a bad side effect, if you ask me.
Causes you. It's not really like a side effect. It's an actual
symptom,
diagnosis.
Symptom.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's
symptom.
It's might cause you some editing troubles, but I'm doing pretty good this episode. I've actually held back. I'm aware of my problem. First step is to admit you have a problem.
That's what they say.
The second step is to hide it. Keep doing it. Just hide it from everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, something Arby's has been hiding from me. I did not know that they owned Buffalo Wild Wings, and they recently purchased Sonic for $2.3 billion. Man, talk about cleaning up and making a monopoly.
That's a lot of dimp.
Yeah.
Did you know Arby's? When I was a kid, they had a advertising campaign that was America's roast beef, yes sir.
Really?
Which was it's clever because that's the
yes sir.
America's roast beef, yes sir.
The last few episodes we've been talking about the simulation theory, which is that
string theory, I think is what it was called, right?
Well, no, we talked about string theory.
Oh, that was part of the okay. So that's like a subgenre. Yeah,
if string theory,
simulation theory,
is ever proven, which string theory is the theory that we have different dimensions. If that's ever proven, then that means we are in a simulation, because deep in the mathematical equations of string theory is binary code, ones and zeros, just like a computer program. Right. Now, that's still a theory. One thing that I forgot to bring up that they did do is called a double slit experiment. Wait for it.
I don't have any songs that are double slit.
And this was a scientific experiment that was held out, which is where when you pass a particle on the quantum level, very small, when you pass an electron through a slit, on the other side, it hits the board in the slit formation. When you make two slits, you should have two slits. Two rows of electrons hitting the target.
So you have a wall, and you take like a piece of wood and you cut an opening, just a slit opening shape,
and you shoot
in it, and you shoot
electrons through it. It should make a strip against the wall.
Through that one line. When you do it with, say, ball bearings, it makes an indention of one line of ball bearings on the wall behind it.
Exactly.
And when you do it with light or waves of any sort, it does a similar thing.
Right.
But when you do two slits,
you should have two slits.
And you fire ball bearings through it, or now did it do it with the no? They didn't try. They did it with the ball bearings, and it made two lines.
Well, nothing's done with ball bearings. This is on a quantum level, so the very, very tiny, microscopic, that you cannot see with the naked eye. They shoot electrons through the slit. It creates this pattern on the other side of the slit on the wall. And we're saying wall just so we can understand the target area. When they make two slits and the electrons pass through it, instead of seeing the two strips that you would normally see like it did with the one slit, you see an interference pattern of many strips when it went through the two. So what they did is they put a measurement tool, basically an eye, that they're observing it really closely and shooting one electron through the two slits each. And when they observe it, it makes the two slits instead of the interference pattern, but only when they observe it. When they stop looking at it or measuring it, then it makes the interference pattern again. So what this means is, on the quantum level, is that electrons, or matter per se, behaves differently depending on whether or not it's being observed. And what this means to me, which is pretty much mind-blowing, and this is scientifically proven, they don't know why this happens, but what this means to me is that when you look at video games, which is our own simulation that we've created
Candy Crush
in a video game world, when you look at a game like, let's say, Call of Duty or Battlefield, or whatever game you like to play, Fortnite or whatever, whatever you're looking at, the computer program is generating or rendering your environment as you look at it. So when you go this way, this over here disappears in order to conserve computing power. So only when you look this way is it rendered or generating the environment for you to see it. When you turn this way, this over here is gone. When I turn this way, this over here is gone. Does this make sense? Okay, now, and what that if the virtual reality that we create for fun ceases to exist on whether or not we're observing it, we also know that is how reality works. That is how matter works in the real world. That
in other words, life is a computer program.
Man, it's crazy. But everything.
I mean, that's kind of where you're going with this. I didn't mean to jump if that is. I didn't mean to jump into your
what else do you
explanation.
What else is the conclusion? I mean, on the quantum level, matter reacts differently based on the fact of whether or not it's being observed, and so do the computer programs that we make in our video games.
They're not. They should. It's great that they're doing all this, research. But I think they should maybe focus all of their energies towards perfecting quantum computing, because until they get that physical quantum computer that works and actually does its job properly without overheating and without all, the entire, when they turn it on, the whole world implodes and turns into nothing. Until they get that thing functioning, if they had a quantum computer right now, all those questions and things that they're theorizing they would have answers to within days.
And this kind of goes further into, the old sayings, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound, if no one's there to observe it. On the quantum level, at least, we know nothing's happened. It's behaving differently.
Right.
On the physical, on our scale, we know that it's seemingly real, but on the quantum level, it's being produced, it's being rendered.
What if we're just conceivably one atom contained in another atom, dude? Yeah. How do I know the color blue to me is the color blue to you? Well, what if we're all just living the earth is just a speck of lint sitting inside a big giant dryer's lint chute, lint screen, man. Mm-hmm.
Just 20 years ago.
You're a speck of lint.
Just 20 years ago, when I was still in high school, graduating high school, we didn't know if there were other planets orbiting other stars in the sky.
Pluto.
We didn't know. No, all we knew is that we had planets around our star, which is the sun. We knew that we had planets. We did not know if we looked up in the sky at all these billions of stars that we see in the night sky. We did not know for sure if there were planets around them.
Yeah.
Just 20 years later, now we know there's planets around every single one of them. I think when they act like this, it makes me reconsider having interns, because there should be something less than free work when you're worth less than even free. They should have to pay to be here.
Do you have to block them from our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our podcast that's on iTunes and Spotify and Podbean?
This is for our protection, and it's for
we need subs, bro, and views. That's 4 more views. That one probably can't press the button. So 3 more views.
It's for reasons that we can't even think of. And all I've got to say is one word: Eli. You remember what happened with him? That last one we had in here.
Yeah, well, they watched that. I didn't watch that episode. No. They told me
he was caught in the next county with all kind of sausages and just canned meats and everything.
Interesting. Well, we've picked up some sponsors.
Yeah, well, look, we take what we can get around here. Today's episode is brought to you by Pete's Potted Meat. If you like Spam, if you like corned beef hash, there's a few little hard chunks and stuff in there, but look, they're working out the kinks. And but anyway, Pete's Potted Meat smells like bacon, but it's not. We got a case in the back.
I'm not eating that shit.
If we can try to get 1,000 likes on this video, we'll give it away.
I've got a neighbor that's got a couple of dogs that could looks like they could use some food, so I'm gonna throw a couple cans over. Like, not
open them.
Try
yeah.
to.
It's right across the street. Glitches Electronics. They have broken iPhones, dead 9 volts, Scotch tape painted black, and some hemostats, apparently.
I got an email the other day asking if this one they don't pay up front, so we got to really try to sell this. I mean, the residual, like, if we do sell, we're gonna get a nice chunk off of everyone sold. It's used cars. No,
okay.
not. It's spelled FU-QU.
Oh, I thought it was
like Q's.
I thought it was spelled like Thai, like Puckett, like PH.
No, I don't think they're Thai. No, I think they're just straight up crackers.
Do they have Toyota Corollas?
They have whatever cars they were able to wrangle up at the local junkyard that weren't totally smashed. They could basically JB weld the block that was cracked, pour some used oil that they got from the auto shop next door. They take the used oil and pour that in the engine, so it looks like it has good oil in it. Their toilets in their offices flush and go into the radiators, and any vehicle on the lot can be yours with $1,200 down and $75 a week.
What is this guy he put in? I think $21 so far. But anyway, Jimmy's Chicken Fingers. If you like chicken fingers made of things that aren't chicken,
or fingers. Oh, maybe they are. Maybe, yeah.
But you can eat them with your fingers.
They don't have fingers.
They look just like chicken fingers. They taste kind of like bananas.